Greetings from the illustrious studios of the Casa de Singlewide, your humble reporter Leroy at your service. Lots of stuff going on in the news, as one might imagine. Some of you may be familiar with a gentleman named Brandon Strzok. It's spelled Straka, but I think he called it Strzok. Anyway, he has been arrested for allegedly enticing people to breach the Capitol building. The words that the quotes they're using from him, number one, I think are secondhand and not an actual recording of his voice. Number two, it sounds like this may have happened after the police were already opening the gates and holding the doors open and letting people in. He mentioned going inside, though I don't even think they're accusing him of actually going inside of the Capitol building. Anyway, prayers for him. He seems to be a good, solid dude. He had voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016 and was shocked, as many were, and essentially in tears when Trump had won, but came to an epiphany that it was his lack and the general lack of the people on the left to discuss these political matters that that caused his surprise. And as he learned more about the conservative side, he found that that's where he was mentally. Nobody is put above him. He is put above no one else. He is a homosexual man, and just thought that conservatives were his enemy, and that was not the case. So I pray that that he is not guilty of what he is accused of. I don't believe that he is, and I also pray that justice is served and that they let him out, and it's not a life-shattering experience for him. Okay, BLM, the Black Lives Matter group, has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, the group itself, the sentiment of Black Lives Matter, of course, Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter, the soul has no color, and God does not differentiate between one and the other. We are all equal in the eyes of the Lord. However, the group BLM is a socialist, Marxist, communist group, according to those who had actually created it, and it's been going on sometime since early Obama administration. They have done massive destruction. They have burned down cities, destroyed people's shops, looted, and I think just since President Trump, while he was in office, I'm thinking there was about $2 billion in insurance claims, and that's just the people that had insurance. A lot of people were uninsured, and insurance generally pays only about 80% of your loss anyway. So a lot of people, they have destroyed a lot of people's livelihoods with their actions. Fiery but peaceful protests. I think about 7%, they said, of the Black Lives Matter protests ended up being riots and destructive and so on and so forth, which oddly enough, for comparison, there were a minimum of 300,000 Trump supporters that showed up in Washington, D.C. on uh, January the 6th. And that's when the Capitol building was breached. Now, there were some, there were a few of them that were Antifa, that were Black Lives Matter, that were agent provocateurs, but certainly many of those who physically broke things, were angry Trump supporters. So I'm not trying to to soften that any. However, most of the people, it appeared, that were inside, who actually got inside the Capitol building, were being let in by the police. They were holding the gates open. They were holding the doors open. Roughly 300 people out of 300,000 people. So we're talking a fraction of 1% of these people went into the Capitol, and a fraction of that, a small fraction of that, were actually people who were violent. So Black Lives Matter is getting nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, with 7% of them violent, but it's like the new Pearl Harbor or something when 1/10 of 1% of Trump supporters become violent, and that's just one of those weird double standards that really should be cast aside. There's about 30 people who have been killed during these Black Lives Matter riots. Most of them black people. 1,000 police officers at least have been injured. And it's just crazy that that group is considered peaceful, getting nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, and the Trump supporters are demonized as the scum of the earth and the most evil terroristic group ever created. Now, one of the major fundraisers for Black Lives Matter, is a woman named Susan Rosenberg. Back on November 7th, 1983, she actually went inside the Capitol building and bombed it in an attempt to kill Republican senators. Set off a bomb in the Capitol building. Bill Clinton, one of his last acts before he left office, pardoned her or commuted her sentence and what have you. So you've got one group who was formed by a bunch of communists, Marxist communists, being fundraised by an actual terrorist who set off a bomb inside the Capitol building with the intent of killing senators. That's Nobel Peace Prize material, but where five people were killed at the Capitol building, most of them by the police. One of them committed suicide. The other had some sort of a brain hemorrhage or something. He was not attacked. Another policeman wasn't attacked. So essentially, there were 3 Trump supporters who were killed on the scene by the police. A couple windows got broken. A couple laptops got stolen. Very minor damage. They went back to work to finish the vote, finish counting the electoral college votes. a couple hours later, there wasn't a bomb set off. So this is the double standard. Now, President Trump had been nominated 5 different times for Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't get one, but some of the things that he did was he had a doctrine against these perpetual wars. That when Obama got in office, he swore that he would end the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Well, he didn't. He made them worse, and he bombed 5 other countries, Syria, Pakistan, Libya, Yemen, and Somalia. And Obama also, in funding the Syrian rebels, actually ended up creating ISIS. I don't think that was his intention, but he created ISIS, which is a group that is more terroristic than Al-Qaeda, and actually paid members of Al-Qaeda to kill Muammar Gaddafi, the leader of Libya, and just turned it into a complete failed state with open slavery in the streets. It was just an absolute mess. And so Trump essentially ended those 7 wars that he had inherited from the previous 2 presidents, defeated ISIS, completely destroyed the caliphate, and in addition to that, normalized relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan. He also brokered peace between Serbia and Kosovo, who had been at war with each other for decades. In addition to that, he helped to a large degree normalize relations between North and South Korea, and became close enough with Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, to actually cross into North Korea, the first time in history that a United States president had crossed into, literally walked in unguarded, no Secret Service, guns bearing down on, walked side by side with Kim Jong-un into North Korea. And Kim Jong-un, who had been setting off rockets and testing nuclear weapons and so on and so forth, he stopped all of that because of the trust built between he and Trump. So Trump did not get a Nobel Peace Prize for any of this. I think that's sad. In addition to all that, President Trump had been an absolute warrior when it came to ending human trafficking. He saved at least 1,300 children who had been stolen from their families and reunited them with their families. Thousands of women who had been sold as sex slaves. Roughly 2,000 human traffickers per year during each of his 4 years were arrested for their crimes. And most of this human trafficking, this modern day slavery, most of them were crossing over the southern border, and I think he built somewhere around 450 miles of border security wall, along with the people there to stop illegal illegal aliens from crossing the border and bringing drugs and bringing human trafficking across our southern border. One of the first acts that potato brain Joe Biden did coming into office was to stop the construction of the wall to allow these people to come in instead of staying if they wanted asylum and they came across illegally. There's 48 places they could come in legally, but they cross illegally into our country, and instead of making them wait on the other side of the border and file their asylum claim, Joe's saying, no, come on in. Just come on in. Yeah, you're fine people who run modern day slavery and bring fentanyl in here that's killing thousands of people a year in our country. Come on in. You're fine. He also tried to stop deportations of people who had come here and broken the law and done felonious acts like that. Fortunately, a court in Texas has at least put a stop to that, and deportations are still going on. But this is the big orange man bad stuff that was going on. You know, this was the foreign policy that was just absolutely the best we've ever had in my lifetime coming from the White House. But you'll notice that the one debate that wasn't had during the campaign was the foreign policy debate. They killed that one. The first debate was 2 against 1, with Chris Wallace in full attack mode, standing shoulder to shoulder with Joe Biden attacking Trump. And then they did have one debate which was very much one-sided, but not as bad as the first one. So the double standards just really irritate me, because the people need to know the truth, and that's not what they're getting unless they're digging. Now, Joe Biden had accused Trump of acting like a dictator the whole time he was in office. Well, a dictator tends to bypass all other lawmakers. They tend to, anyone who insults them, that kind of thing, they end up in some dark prison corner somewhere. That's not how President Trump operated. He did sign executive orders like every president since Abraham Lincoln has done, roughly about the same amount as Barack Obama had done during his first 4 years, about the same as George Bush Jr. did during his first 4 years. So, but Biden has leveled up. Potato Brain has signed 42 executive orders that bypass the House of Representatives, that bypass the Senate, that rubber stamping his totalitarian laws through executive order. He has set a record for the first 10 days by a lot, with 42 executive orders that he's just shuffling across the desk and has no idea what he is signing. Now, Dr. Fauci has now become the highest paid person in Washington, D.C. If he continues on his trek from 2019, if he continues through 2024, he will have been paid $2.5 million, and so far he hasn't been right about anything. He told us, oh, we don't need masks. Then he said we did. Now he says we need 2. the World Health Organization has determined that about 80% of the testing that has been done is likely to have been false positives. So we really don't know how many people have gotten this stuff. Only 6% of the people who have died with COVID-19 have actually died from COVID-19. They had various comorbidities, bad heart, bad lungs, diabetes, very, very overweight, different aspects that the COVID-19 virus added to the list of things that were killing them. May have been the straw that broke the camel's back, but not the only contributing factor. The people who have died that had no comorbidities, the only thing known that was causing their health problems was the COVID-19, only about 6%. So this, at worst, it's about as deadly as the flu. At worst, probably not even that bad. And to shut the economy down to the entire world and put everyone into an absolute panic has just been ridiculous. Now they're going, of course, they're going on with this impeachment trial. It is so ridiculous that Chief Justice Roberts, who is supposed to, according to the Constitution, actually be presiding over this procedure, has refused to do so because it's unconstitutional. 45 Republican senators have said, we don't care what evidence you bring, this entire process is unconstitutional. We're voting to acquit. So right there you have, it takes 2/3 majority vote in the Senate to remove a president, and you're not going to get it. So it's all a waste of time, a waste of money. Maybe President Trump will actually get to present some of the evidence that has given him the heartfelt belief that he was cheated in this election, because out of the 83 cases that he and his lawyers have tried to bring at virtually every court, every jurisdiction, every timetable that you possibly could imagine, every court has refused to hear the facts of the matter and dismissed all of these cases on procedural grounds. So people say, oh, well, it's been to court, it's been determined there was nothing wrong. No, it's never been to court. There has been no evidentiary hearings whatsoever. Maybe, just maybe, he will be able to present evidence to the people of the United States to show how badly this election was run. Okay, and since fraud vitiates all, who knows? Who knows? If he can prove that the election is fraudulent, then it could conceivably legally backfire on the Democrats and actually get the election itself overturned. I'm not getting my hopes up. I don't want to sell you a bunch of hopium, but if the law works the way it's supposed to, which doesn't seem to happen very often, that is a possibility. Okay, Kevin Klein Smith, you probably never heard of, but he was an FBI lawyer who altered some emails and documents and what have you that were presented to the FISA courts to get the last 2 FISA warrants against Carter Page. Now, let's get this straight. They didn't care about spying on Carter Page. They knew he was a CIA asset. He was not a Russian spy or whatever. The way this works, according to Edward Snowden and other declassified materials that we've gotten, we know that whoever Carter Page talked to was also being spied on. They go three hops out. They'll tell you two, but they go 3 hops out. So Carter Page is talking to somebody. Well, not only are they spying on Carter Page, then they're spying on the person that they talk to. Now that person gets on the phone or email or whatever, and everyone that they talk to gets spied on, along with the previous ones, and then anyone that they call or communicate with, meet with, email, so on and so forth. That's the third hop out. All of those people are spied on. So you get a FISA warrant against one person. This can end up to be thousands and thousands of people. If they call a business, then everyone in that business ends up being spied on, potentially. So, make no mistake, all this was about was to spy on President Trump. And this went on from at least 30 days prior to him actually becoming president. It went from before the election all the way to at least 9 months into his presidency that he was being spied on by the FBI through these FISA warrants, which were completely illegal from start to finish. But Kevin Klein-Smith, who was found guilty of altering the documents to give to the FISA court to spy on a sitting president, he got zero time in jail. Guy's guilty. Admitted he's guilty. He's getting a year's probation, $100 fine, and a few hours of community service. I'd get that for jaywalking. And this, in my opinion, I mean, you ought to call it treason. But that's, again, there's a double standard. There's how screwed up our laws are. How one-sided they are. Rules for thee, but not for me. It's very, very, very sad. And during all of this, all of these promises, where's that single-payer health care plan? Where's all that? Where's all those jobs you were supposed to be bringing? How you gonna kill that virus there, Big Joe? He's come out and said there's nothing we can do to slow the spread in these months to come. You know, we're gonna do a 100-day mask challenge. You know, you heard anything about socialized health care? No, that's the same promise that Obama gave when he was running for office in 2008. You never got it then, you're not gonna get it now. So, what are they doing for you? Democrats, what you voted for them, what are they doing for you? Killing thousands and thousands of jobs, killing the fracking, killing the Keystone XL pipeline. You got a few governors and mayors that are actually being forced to open their states and their cities back up because everybody's leaving and they're not going to have anybody left to tax. But it kind of seems to me like these Democrats don't really give a crap about you. And they are absolutely hell-bent to undo, to kill all of the good jobs that that President Trump brought into this country, to jack the taxes up on you personally, on the businesses and everything else, to run them off, to make regulations, to kill the good $30, $40 an hour jobs, $80,000 plus a year jobs. That's what you ended up with. And if you voted for this potato brain, well, that's what you deserve. Sorry. If we don't fix this election, if we don't fix the cheating that went on, and anybody that thinks there wasn't any is in absolute denial, they're morons at this point. They're not even trying to look. If we don't fix it, this country's dead. Your vote's dead, my vote's dead. It's a dictatorship. Once the vote's gone, that's all you got left. That's all you got left. So, pray for this country. Pray for justice. Pray for each other. I'm praying for you. I love you, everyone. And please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Just clicking the little like button, it really helps the algorithm. It helps get this video shared by YouTube to others. Comment, good, bad, or indifferent. Try to keep it respectful, but I will try to get back and answer any comments that you have and address any concerns that you have and investigate anything that I'm not covering that you think that I should cover. Anyway, I do hope that each and every one of you has a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Y'all take care now, you hear? Bye-bye.